What's up, everybody? Good early evening, and with the recent third wave of cuts from the Seahawks, we have our initial 53-man roster. And I do mean the word initial very, very seriously because this is not going to last all that long in all likelihood. This is just the first 53-man roster. I expect that sometime tomorrow we're going to see some changes. We're going to be adding players to the short-term IR, which kicks in tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific, I believe. So pretty early in the day, for me anyway, we're going to start seeing some guys go to the short-term IR. And when that happens, roster spots get opened up to bring in other guys. I'm going to talk about that a little bit in this video. We're also probably going to see some guys get claimed off waivers, which could include players the Seahawks have waived, but it could also include other players coming to the Seahawks from other teams. And in order to make room for those guys, we're going to have to release or waive some of the players that are currently here. So this is going to morph pretty significantly, I would say, over the next couple weeks. None of the major players, maybe, but some of the players. And by the way, I just realized my green screen doesn't react well with this shirt, but it's a cool shirt, so I'm going to stick it out with it. So deal with it. But yeah, I just want to go over the initial 53-man and offer up some, I guess you could call it predictions of my own about where this could change. So here's the 53-man roster as it is right now. And there's also a little bit of a color code. So yellow is for a player that I think has a high probability, or at least a solid probability, of ending up on the short-term IR, meaning they miss the first month or so, and then they can come back. They can't officially be put on that list until tomorrow, so that's why it hasn't been done yet, but I believe that there's a good chance, probably better than 50% chance that they will. And red is for a player who is on the 53-man for now, but I believe could be utilized as, for lack of a better term, fodder if we see a player on waivers or in free agency that we like more than that player. Like, we would just look at that player and go, okay, you made the initial 53-man, but we like this guy better, this guy that we claimed off waivers or guy that we signed in free agency, so you're going to be one of the first guys on the chopping block. So understand that they're on this team, but it may not be for very long. It wouldn't be hard for us to find somebody we probably covet more, and we would probably just move on from them, and in some cases maybe try to get them back on the practice squad. So let's go down the list here. A lot of this stuff is pretty obvious and needs no introduction, but let's talk it all through. Quarterback is Geno Smith and Drew Lock. Nothing to really think about here. Running back is K9, Charbonnet, McIntosh, and Dallas. Now, McIntosh got hurt a while ago and we haven't seen him. Haven't heard a lot about him, so some people are maybe thinking he's a short-term IR candidate. But it was said when he was initially injured that it should only be a couple weeks. So if that's the case, he should easily be back in time for week 1. So I don't think that's going to happen. So I do think McIntosh will be ready for week 1, so I'm not putting him on the short-term IR candidates yet. Fullback, also linebacker, we have Nick Bellore. Some people thought he was going to be released, but I don't think he's in any danger of it even now. Like, there's stuff going on with Nick Bellore that's bigger than we as fans get to know about, I think. You're just going to have to trust the process here, I guess. Wide receiver, we've got Metcalf, Lockett, JSN, Bobo, Derek Young, and Cody Thompson. Now, Derek Young sounds like he's got a non-trivial injury. I expect him to go on the short-term IR tomorrow or within the next few days. And Cody Thompson could also go on short-term IR because he got hurt in the, I think it was the Dallas preseason game. But we don't need 6 receivers. Maybe we need 6 receivers at first because Derek Young is going to be hurt and JSN might miss the first game. But big picture, we don't really need 6 receivers. Most teams don't carry 6 receivers. So if JSN and Derek Young are actually going to be fine and maybe even ready to play week 1, and we're overestimating things a little bit there, Thompson, I believe, will be released in favor of another lineman of some kind. So he's one of the early guys who would be lopped off if we needed the roster spot. Tight end, Noah Fant, Will Dissly, Colby Parkinson. No surprises there. Left tackle, Charles Cross, Stone Forsyth. Some people would probably put Stone Forsyth in red, but I don't think we want to move off of him yet. I'm not getting that sense. And I think that there's a possibility, but it's low, so I'm not going to put him in red. I don't think we want to move off a guy we spent a draft pick on. If he was a UDFA, it'd probably be different. But Forsyth did play better against the Packers, I think. So I think he's going to stick around for a little bit. Left guard, Damian Lewis. No backup left guard. We're rolling with 9 offensive linemen, which, sure, hopefully it doesn't come back and bite us, but that's what we got. Center, Evan Brown, Olu Oluwatimi backing him up. Right guard, we got Phil Haynes and Anthony Bradford. Right tackle, we got Abraham Lucas and Jake Curhan. So nothing unexpected on the right side or the center. Nothing that really could have happened differently, I don't think. All these guys are intriguing or have proven themselves on some level, so there was no need to upgrade it back up. Okay, now we're rolling on over the defense here. We're going to start with this defensive line. Nose tackle, I've got Jaron Reed, and backing him up, I have Cam Young. And Cam Young, I think there's like a 50-50 chance that he starts the season on short-term IR, so I put him in yellow. We just haven't heard that much about the injury. We haven't heard about the severity. I feel like they're kind of just keeping it quiet because they know it's going to take a little while and they don't really want to talk about it. And the fact that we didn't see him at all in the preseason, I think this is probably going to be a short-term IR situation. And that'll free up a roster spot for us to maybe bring back Matt Gotel. I don't know if we're going to play things that way, but we will need another nose tackle if Cam Young goes on short-term IR. I don't think we can get by with just one on the roster. Defensive end, we've got Draymond Jones, Mario Edwards, we've got Mike Morris, and we've got Miles Adams. And Mike Morris, also a logical short-term IR candidate because of the procedure that he's already had done on his shoulder. We already know that he was not in the best of shape to be ready to start the season. He didn't get to play very much in the preseason, so I kind of expect him to start the season on short-term IR. So that's 2 spots on this defensive line that we're going to need to fill short-term if this happens. So maybe you bring back, maybe this is Levi Bell's spot. That's possible, right? If Levi Bell slips through, maybe you get him back here as a short-term defensive end. Maybe you get Jacob Sykes back if he gets through waivers, but probably going to need to do something. Linebacker, we got Bobby Wagner and Devin Bush. Devin Bush did not get released, by the way, which was heavily rumored leading up to cutdown day, and I don't think he's in any danger of getting cut. I think the people who were talking about it were Steelers fans that don't like him because he didn't work out there. Jordan Brooks and John Radigan, and I do have John Radigan in red because I think it's okay if he's your linebacker 4, but I also think that we were hoping that Jones would be our linebacker 4. So if we decided to upgrade from Radigan, who was a very mixed bag in the preseason, it wouldn't surprise me. So Radigan, I think, could go one way or the other. The upshot is that we do have Nick Bellore, who can also act as a linebacker. So maybe Radigan sticking around as linebacker 4 doesn't matter as much because it would take so much to get him on the field on defense. And Radigan does offer some stuff on special teams, but it wouldn't shock me if we feel like we can get better than Radigan with our linebacker depth. Edge rusher, Nwosu, Mafe, Taylor, Hall, Tyreek Smith. Pretty slam dunk home run here. Nothing to really talk about. So the edge room is exactly as expected. And yeah, some people were saying we should move off of Smith and keep Bell, but we use a pick on Tyreek Smith, so I don't think we want to move off that yet. Cornerback. A little bit of interesting stuff here. Woolen, Trey Brown, Mike Jackson, Witherspoon, Kobe Bryant, they all stuck. Of course they did. But we kept a 6th cornerback. So in effect, we decided to carry less defensive linemen and less offensive linemen than I thought to keep an extra cornerback, Artie Burns. Now, I don't think this team really needs to carry 6 cornerbacks, especially because we have a guy like Julian Love who has cornerback flexibility at safety. So if the opportunity comes up to upgrade on the lines or maybe even at another position that we're not even really thinking about right now, it would not shock me if we moved off of Artie Burns just as kind of like the guy that we can afford to lose. It has nothing to do with his play. Like these other guys I have in red are just kind of mediocre, middling players. Artie Burns actually played good in the preseason and looks like he could be a good part of this team, but I think he's expendable if we find a defensive or offensive lineman that we like. So I have him in red, even though he did play really well throughout camp and the preseason. So 6 cornerbacks. We got our 4 safeties, Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs, Julian Love, and Jarek Reed II. I never doubted that Jarek Reed was going to make the team once it became clear how much the team liked him. Initially, I was like, this could go one way or the other. He might end up on the practice squad. But once he got out there for rookie minicamp and there were the rave reviews coming out, it was pretty clear he wasn't going anywhere. So happy about that, but not unexpected. And then you just have your special team guys, Myers, Dixon, Stoll. And that's your 53-man roster. That's all 53 spots filled up. So that is your initial 53-man grouping. Again, it's going to change tomorrow. Be ready for that. Be prepared for that. Look for some of the moves that I talked about to happen. Some of these guys just don't look physically capable of playing football for the next month. Some of these guys are somewhat expendable. I have 3 guys in both categories, so something's going to happen. And we might have the opportunity to land a pretty good piece in the waiver wire pickup system. So let's explore our options here. But for now, this is what we got. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know how you feel about it. See you guys later. Go Hawks. I'm going to be streaming later tonight with the Hawks Nest to talk about all this. And yeah, hope to see you guys there. And we'll see how things morph over the next couple days.